Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. In today's age, you can't just have boring photos on your property marketing listings. You've got to have a virtual walkthrough tour. That way, tenants can quickly qualify themselves and look through the property even at 2 in the morning online. But I can hear you say, look, Darren, it's too expensive with cameras and takes too long. That's why you've got to go to virtualtourscreator.com.au and check out how you can do walkthrough virtual tours using your mobile phone. Go and check it out. Also, talk to Tom there at virtualtourscreator.com.au on how you can quickly turn your tours into really cheap floor plans as well. Take care. Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here with the PM Power podcast show, and I'm with Kylie Walker. How you going, Kylie?
I am great. Thank you, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Well, it's the second one that we're doing together, isn't it? And because you've got a lot of good things to say. Now, everyone, Kylie runs two businesses. She runs a property management business in Brisbane called I Think Property, but also a property management training business like myself, and it's called That Property Mum. But also Kylie runs her own podcast show as well, so make sure you go to and subscribe to the Property Management Podcast Show. That's on iTunes podcast or on Spotify, and get listening to that, because Kylie is very, very passionate about not just property management but the health and welfare of property managers, particularly if you're a busy mum. Now, I know there's a lot of ladies in property management, and I think that's a great message for the property management community. So get onto Kylie's podcast. But today, Kylie is going to talk to us about 6 habits as a busy mum, as a busy property management mum, the things that she does on a daily basis without fail. Kylie's a very organized lady, and um let's just talk about those things. Now, we've already done a quick planning session before the podcast, and Kylie's given me those 6 things. And what is it about these 6 things, without going into them yet, Kylie, but what is about these 6 things that just make a difference? How are they foundational to you, and why?
Well, let me just be completely honest and transparent with you before we dive in. I was the most unorganized, crazy working mum, mother. I was the mum that had the kids dressed in the wrong uniforms on the wrong day, sports uniforms on formal days. I turned up a week early to kids' birthday parties. I had never filled out paperwork correctly for any of my early days as a property manager. I missed, open inspections. I missed appointments. I was completely rattled and unorganized. I didn't even have a diary. Everything was in my head. And what that did, it set me up for massive, epic fails, and epically fail I did on many occasions. So I certainly have learnt the hard way, and that's why I guess I had to, implement and develop some habits that would. I felt like my working life and my personal life was running me, and I wasn't in control of anything. So, and for my personality type, that's not a good way to be. But for years, I ran around like a crazy woman. So I have had to develop some habits for my own sanity, really.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad you're on the show, and I know you've got a lot to contribute, especially with your business, That Property Mum. And if you do get Kylie's emails, she's got some really good topics that she covers. But let's get into the 6 daily habits of a busy property management mum. And well, firstly, straight off the bat, you talk about exercise and meditation to start your day. So the first habit, tell us about that.
I've always been one to exercise. It has been really important for my mental health over the years. So I've always been an exerciser. I've played lots of sport as well. So it's always been part of my daily habits, probably since even childhood. Even as a teenager, I used to go for a run every morning before school. So it has always been a foundational part of who I am and what I enjoy doing. And as I've had kids, it's got harder and harder to fit that into my life. But it has always, I've made it, that's a priority for me. So, and in recent years, I've also added in the meditation. which has been amazing for me in helping me focus and be more productive as well as reducing stress. A lot of people who know me and have been following me for a while will know that I've had some major health issues around stress. So meditation has been a game changer in terms of helping me regulate that nervous system and be a lot calmer person to be around.
I have to attest to certainly exercise for myself and the mental health that you do get, because when you're able to do cardio, for example, and get your heart rate right up for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something magical happens in your brain and it mixes chemicals together. And it just supercharges you, a lot like Barocca, it just really is very good mental health chemicals that are just pumped into your bloodstream. You feel really, really good. A great way to stay on top of stress and anxiety. That is a real issue these days, Kylie, for sure. And very, very important, particularly in property management, mental health. And you've got your balance there too, because of the rigors of the job, the difficulties of the job. You're starting off your day right, but getting into something really, really physical to get yourself ready, for your day. So let's get into daily habit number 2. And it's quite a simple thing, but let's talk about what you take. What do you drink? Something that you do daily. Tell us about that.
So I always start off my morning with a hot lemon drink. And I don't even know how that became a habit for me, but it has, I think I remember reading something, about it balancing your pH levels and great for your digestive system to get that sort of working. I think because I've been sort of a highly anxious and stressy sort of person, I have had a lot of digestive issues over the years. So the hot lemon drink is just something that, makes me feel good, gets everything sort of moving. I also do love a coffee though as well, but that's usually after I've had my exercise on my way home. I will grab a coffee as well. So that is an important part of my day as well, and one of my daily habits as well, the caffeine hit, which I am sure, but I've reduced that down to only one a day now. So making that a healthy habit, not an addictive habit. But yeah, the hot lemon drink, and I'm sure if you Google it, there's probably, so many benefits to it. I really couldn't put my finger on how or why, but it is one of in fact, it's the first thing, as soon as my feet touch the ground, I walk out, turn on the jug and squeeze hot lemon drink. Really simple, but makes me feel great.
And I know you can get fresh lemons, or you can actually get the lemon juice in a squeezy and just squeeze a bit of lemon juice or whatever. But well done on that. I might even take that up myself. I think it's a very, very good idea, and I'm sure it has a lot of digestive benefits. Let's talk about habit number 3 now, and this is where you're getting into that planning of your day, your to-do list, and you do some planning. Let's talk about that. Let's just walk us through your routine around your planning.
So I guess for me, I'm very much a person who's in my own head. I'm an ideas person, and I'm probably more in that creative space a lot of the time. So to-do lists for me, or even mind dump. So generally I will start my week, and I'll go back to the start of the week. So usually on a Monday or a Friday, depending on how organized I am, I will do a thing called a mind dump, where I get everything out of my head, whether that's personal or professional. Because let's remember, as working mums, we're not only working or running businesses, but also running households. And women do still to this day do a large majority of the workload at home as well. So we're also, juggling a lot of that sort of stuff. So I would do a mind dump, get out all the personal things, whether it's dentist appointments that I have to book, car servicing, gutters being cleaned on you, whatever personal jobs, plus all of my work tasks as well. And then I kind of separate the lists, and then I prioritize them in order, 1 being the highest priority down to 10. And then they get put into my weekly planner. I use the thing called a full focus planner, which I have only just started using this year, and I absolutely love it. It's very similar to your planner, Darren. It's got, sort of your priority tasks that you do each day. So I will break up my mind dump into Monday, the top 3 things I'll put in there. But I try to only focus on 3 major priorities every day. And usually these priorities relate back to my biggest, especially the business ones, will relate back to my biggest goals or big projects that I am working on currently. So, and then I have a smaller to-do list under that. But if I get those top 3 things done, I feel like I've achieved something for the day. I feel like I've been productive, and I've got something kind of to celebrate at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's awesome. Of course, the daily task manager that I use, 4 key things you just got to, well, firstly, you got to write everything down. And whether it's a notebook or an app or whatever, everything's recorded. Remember nothing, write everything down, do a complete brain dump. You've got to have your mind free. You don't want it cluttered like trash on the bottom of your car rolling around, because, clutter in your mind causes stress. So you've got to get it out, clear your mind, and then each day sort out what you're going to do. So for me, it's, your top priority tasks, your low priority tasks, what calls you got to do, what emails you got to do. So that's what I've been doing on, 25 years or so. I just, without fail, and I've got a book in front of me of about 30, 40 pages. I've printed off. I do it, most days I write up a new one. I'm not as busy as what I used to be when I was a property manager, of course. But look, if anyone wants, do you have a copy available, like a template or something available at all, Kylie?
I do have I'm using this full focus planner, which you can order online, but I do have my own property management planner that my team uses in my office. It's very similar to yours, in fact, but mine just has sort of 3 priority tasks and then your to-do list. And then it has space to add new, because as property managers,
Yep.
your to-do list gets bigger, not smaller, every single day. I think it must be one of the few jobs where you actually do get more work piled on as the day progresses. So it's got room to add on more tasks. And like you said, getting it out of your head is so important, because otherwise what happens is when we have thoughts and things to do, they actually keep looping. It's scientifically proven that these thoughts keep looping around. That's why we discussed earlier before we came on about us waking up at 3 a.m. and going, oh my goodness, I forgot to send that email. I didn't do that report. Whatever it is, you'll wake up at 3 o'clock and remember something, because it's still going around on a loop in your mind.
Yeah.
So you need to absolutely get it out on paper, and stop that annoying looping and 3 a.m. wake up calls.
Now, for me, just a simple notepad, that I just get from the printers. I've got so many of these things, and I can just quickly write things down. Even when I'm sitting in the lounge, I can quickly write it. But for everyone, here is an amazing tip that's even better than a notepad. And I don't know, give me what's a typical thing that could be stuck in our brain that we should get out? Give me something that could roll around in our head. What's that?
A dispute.
Remember, a dispute, or something that we could easily forget that rolls around in our head.
Oh gosh, you got me on the spot here. Something, I guess, returning a call to a landlord.
That's cool. So watch this. I've got a friend called Siri. All righty, and Siri is my daily assistant. Everybody, this is I've got a call coming through. Now I want to use my iPhone, but there's a call coming through. So how do I get rid of this guy? Here we go. All right. So get rid of that. There we go. All right. So, hey Siri, remind me tomorrow at 9 a.m. to call Mr. Smith.
Okay, your reminder is set for tomorrow 9 a.m.
So that now goes into my Apple reminders, and it will come up with a banner on my lock screen. It'll be there at 9 o'clock reminding me. So that's another way. Instead of having a notepad handy, I'll just go, hey Siri, blah, 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 blah. And she puts it down. She books an appointment for me. She's a wonderful lady. She's something that, most of us have access to. If you're on an Android, just go, hey Google, and you get the same thing. But what can I say? Siri is a good friend to all of us. Just use it. Just get it out of your head. And it works wonderfully. So
that's a great tip. I had never thought of doing that. So that's fantastic.
It is. Okay. So now we've got to the end of our day now, Kylie, and you're now in your exit mode. So let's talk about that. The first thing you mentioned, the next effective habit or daily habit that you do is a last scan of your emails. Let's talk about that one.
Absolutely. So I guess it all kind of, it all there's a couple of habits that I do that combine for, I guess, a end of day or work shutdown routine, if you like. But yeah, first thing I would do is just check that there's no important emails that have come in. Which, for me, if there's a new management, that would be classified as an important email, and I would respond to that before I leave the office. Or if there's a tenant emergency maintenance or something, of course, you're going to want to respond to that. If there's nothing urgent, that's it. I will scan it and shut it down. Turn off any notifications. I don't want to know about my emails until tomorrow morning. So that's kind of the first step in my work shutdown routine, if you like.
Now, so you're not one of those people that looks at your emails after hours and tempted to at 10 at night and all those sorts of things. So you don't actually look at your emails after that point?
Look, I do sometimes, but this morning I was saying before, I woke up at 3:00 and I started working at 4:00. So I was on my emails, sending off and emails to people at 4:00 this morning. But as a rule, no, I try not to. But back in the day before I sort of evolved some good habits around and some boundaries around my working life, I would be that person sitting up at 10:00 at night, lying in bed, answering emails, doing new management inquiry. I was a little bit obsessed, let's say.
Okay, well, here's a good tip for everybody. Now, this is something that some people would argue with me on. If you don't like it, just of course, delete the idea. But I'm a real believer for property managers. It may not be suitable for a BDM or new business person, but for a property manager, when someone sends you an email, they have this usually a wrong or incorrect expectation when they think you're going to get back. Now, you're in property management, usually out on the road doing stuff. You're not at your keyboard waiting in bated breath to return their email. And they just have this thing, might be, a 1 or 2 hours before you're going to get back. And you might get back 8 hours later, and now they're a little bit upset because it's outside of their real incorrect expectation. So we need to set expectations, and the best way to do that is when the email is received. Now, a lot of people just think an autoresponder should only be used for when they're sick or on leave, but in fact, it can be used very effectively and keep it on 24/7. And so you could have wording along the lines of on your autoresponder, hi, property management's a very busy job that keeps me away from my desk, out showing properties and doing inspections. It's very difficult for me to return your email in a timely manner. However, please expect that we would get back to you on your email within 24 or 48 hours, depending on what time frame you want to bear. But if it's an emergency and you can't wait, then call this number. And, for me, if I get an email like that from a property manager, initially, my first reaction is respect, because they've told me, they've got my email and how they're going to deal with it. And when I can expect they're going to get back to me, it gives me a right expectation. It's now overridden my incorrect, unreasonable expectation, and busy people respect busy people. That's my belief on it. I've got people that would argue with me on it, saying they're unprofessional, blah, 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 blah. But property management's full of burnout. And, having your emails piling up is a recipe to pile up your anxiety. It's a weight that a lot of property managers find very difficult to carry. It is an emotional burden you place on yourself with anxiety. Just be kind to yourself, everyone. Give it a go. Have a 24/7 autoresponder. If you want that wording that I've just given, just email me, darren@igtmail.com. That's darren@igtmail.com. I'll send you the wording. Just say, Darren, give me the 24/7 autoresponder in the subject line so I know what you want. And we'll get it to you. If you want the daily task manager that I've got as well, just ask for that. So if you ask for it, you'll get it, darren@igtmail.com. So, all right. So we've now exited today by looking or doing a last scan of our emails, and hopefully then you don't look at them for the next day. Next is...
Can I just add on the email? Sorry to interrupt you. Can I just add on the email thing? One thing I have noticed that every property manager I've ever had through my business, they are addicted to their emails. And I find it's not the business owner's expectations that they have to be on their emails 24/7, but they have an unrealistic expectation on themselves that they cannot have emails sitting there, and it prevents them being focused in the office as well, because if they've got every time a notification comes up, they think they've got to stop what they're doing right now and go and check what that email is. But that's not how it should be. Like, I encourage my team in the office, and, sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't, but I encourage them, check your emails when you get into the office and have a time limit, set a timer, do an hour on your emails first thing in the morning, then check half an hour before lunch, half an hour before you leave work. And also I, also have the theory that, you shouldn't defer emails. You've either got to delete them, deal with them, or delegate them. The amount of time you waste going back and rereading an email, when it could be one of those three things could be done to it, will save you so much time at the end of a day. And, emails are the biggest distraction to productivity and focus in my mind. And I think it's time that, we all put some boundaries around the use of our emails. That's my little rant for that.
We could do a session on email management.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'd be good at that. All right, let's move on. And let's talk about another last habit of the day. So we're now in exit mode. One of the things that you've told me that you do is around your planning for the next day. Tell us about that.
So I will do a review of my to-do list from the day. 9 times out of 10, I will always tick off my big 3 things. So that kind of lets me leave for the day feeling like I've achieved something. I've got a bit of a win. I can celebrate. 3 big things that are going to move me towards my major goals have been done. Then I will do a review, tick off the other items that I've got done. Some days I don't get a lot done. Other days I'll get more done. And I transfer what wasn't done onto my to-do list for the next day. And I will plan out my big 3 things for the next day as well. Review my appointments and have them scheduled in as well, because some people just work electronically with their calendars and diaries. I kind of work out of both. So I will have most of my appointments will be booked in electronically, but I will then still write them down in my planner as well. I'm a bit forgetful. And, with so many things going through my mind, I have been known to miss appointments. But I find that if I've got it in my calendar and I've got it written down, and for some reason reviewing it and having it in my head the day before helps me remember, and feel organized and in control of my day the day before, if you like. So
and I think, and so habit number 6, everyone, is just checking your appointments off. For myself as well, sometimes my executive assistant or someone's booked in an appointment for me first thing, but it's good to do a scan of your diary, so you got check. I have made the mistake of missing an 8:30 a.m. appointment, a very important one once, that caused me a lot of problems, and that was a little bit unforgivable, that particular incident. And it can cause you problems. And sometimes we assume what's in our diary for the next day, but we just got to double check it just in case, because what's in our head sometimes can be wrong. Particularly, just because you're in control of your diary doesn't mean that you've memorized your diary. And so you've always just got to do that quick scan there. But then we're able to now switch off. So we've got our planning done, or if you're a property manager, get your to-do list done before you leave. Some people prefer to do it first thing, but a lot of people, when they do the to-do list, last thing, that's their final brain dump. That's the closure. They can lock the door in their head to the property management. They can now step into their real life. Other people have little rituals. I remember a property manager telling me he lived in the Adelaide Hills. The Adelaide Hills to the city, there's a big tunnel you go through. He goes through the tunnel. It's a psychological change, switching off from work, switching to home as he goes through the tunnel. He's leaving his problems on the other side of the hill. And we've got to switch off, guys, because one of the problems in property management is that we do take our property management problems home with us, and can affect our relationships at home. And, Kylie, you're a busy mum. How many kids have you got?
4.
4 children.
4 teenagers.
You to switch off, let's talk about that, because this is all about being a busy mum. How do you then, how does all of that help you there to then become a more effective mum?
Well, I think once I I have been guilty of blurring the lines between home and work life many times. I always say thank goodness for iPads, because my kids grew up laying around the floor in my real estate office on their iPads in the early days when they were very little. But nowadays, it's very hard for me to even get them to come and sit and watch TV with me. So the tables have turned. But yeah, I think it's as I've got older and am more appreciative of, being a present parent and wanting to have, connection and time with my children. It's been really important for me to switch off at the end of the day, shut down. And I think another important thing is to turn off your computer as well. I think that, for me, I love the satisfaction of shutting the lid on my MacBook. That for me is the final done. I am not touching this. I am walking out. And then I can go inside and cook dinner, have conversation. I feel like I'm way more present. I'm listening to what my kids are saying to me instead of thinking about those things that are looping around, because I've written them down. I've got them out of my head. And I'm, can join in conversations about their days and what's going on in their lives. And it just makes me way more attentive than probably I was years ago when they were a lot smaller, and before I developed some really good habits. I was not a very attentive mum at times. So it's hard though, getting that.
Life is challenging, and we can't always get it right, and neither should we try and do that either. We just got to do our very best with what we've got at that time. So thank you so much, Kylie. That was a really good 6 habits there, and there, I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers could relate to what you're saying. If they want to get in touch with you, Kylie, what's the best way to do that?
Probably just on Instagram or Facebook is probably the easiest way. That Property Mum. I'm just at That Property Mum. So.
At That Property Mum. All good.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Kylie. And we'll see everyone in the next podcast show. Take care.
Thank you.